Hi everyone, today we're going to give you a demonstration showing you how to prune raspberries. So I'm here at our Bitterroot Line Community Garden and we have this community raspberry patch. And most of our raspberries at the community gardens fruit on their second year's growth. And this is true of many raspberries. So what we're going to do is we're going to thin out last year's growth. We're going to thin out anything that's kind of old and dead looking, any stalks that are really skinny and small, so that we can make space for the second year growth to grow nice and big and strong and produce a good harvest of berries. All right, so what we're looking for is, if you come down here and we're looking at our canes, we're doing this in springtime, and we would recommend pruning in mid to late spring. We're going to look for the difference in these stems. So the ones that we want to take out are have this peely old bark. They tend to be a little bit grayer than the stem next to it, like this one or this one, that kind of have this nice brown color and smoother bark. So this smoother bark with the nice brown color is second year growth. So its first year was last year. It overwintered. This will be its second year. And this bark is older. So this is either third or fourth year growth that has already fruited. So we're going to take it out. Something else you can look for is if you see any dried berries from last year. That's a good sign that, this one fruited last year. You can see there's some dried berries here. It also has that kind of weathered, flaky bark. So you'll need some pruners, and we're just going to cut these down at the base. So cutting down here, cut it down at the base, and then we'll pull it out. Thank you. And we're going to do that for the others in this clump. So here's another one. And this is just giving our plants some better airflow, which reduces disease and fungus, while also just giving more water and nutrients to this newer growth that we want to produce fruit. So that's kind of what you're going for. If you see anything new growth from this year, we definitely want to leave that, because this is our first year. This will be first year growth this year. So next year it should produce fruit. So definitely leave all of those new ones as well. And then as for really small skinny stalks, if you see something like this, I would thin this out as well too, just because it's so small and skinny, it's not going to produce as much. So feel free to cut these really skinny ones too. And that's how you prune raspberries. So we received some questions about raspberry care that we're going to talk about. One is weeds. So when you're pruning your raspberries, you definitely want to also pull weeds. Weeds compete for nutrients, water, sometimes light. So early in the season, it's always good to weed your raspberries, and you will probably have to continue weeding them throughout the season. So as I'm pruning these raspberries, I would also be pulling the dandelions and this grass. But all of this leaf litter in here, this is from old raspberry stems and some old strawberries, it looks like, that we have in here. That is okay to leave. So that is just a natural leaf litter that will break down and add the nutrients back into the soil. It also serves as a mulch, so it will keep some of the moisture in the soil, and it can also help prevent weeds from germinating in here with this nice mulch. So leave the dried leaves. They're totally fine there, but definitely pull the weeds. And just one tip when you're working with the raspberries, we recommend wearing gloves, long sleeves, or if you have, if it's a cooler day, you could wear a raincoat or something, because raspberries are spiny, so you might get snagged, or we don't want you to hurt yourself. Hello,
I'm here to talk to you about the native bees that like to nest in your raspberry stems. So old raspberry stems, after they're pruned, are great nesting sites for native bees. And so if you're cutting down the whole old stalk, instead of throwing it in the weed pile or taking it off site, if you can make a pile of these stalks nearby or inside your raspberry patch, native carpenter bees will nest inside the stalk, and they'll actually lay their eggs in there and make their little bee babies balls of pollen, and then those bees will hatch out the following spring and pollinate your raspberries. So if you can keep these stalks around for at least a year, that's best. And here's an example of like a little pile. So we just piled up some old stems here, and we'll keep them around for a year or longer.